Hello YouTube, this is Austin Culbertson, and this is my first roll review of the Pentax 6x7 mirror lockup. Technically second roll. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the shooting experience with this, some things you might be interested in learning, and I'm going to share with you a few pictures that were doctored in post, but I think they turned out great. The reason why I say doctored in post, not only is it really common to edit photos, but also I was shooting in overcast conditions, which were really ugly, so I changed the skies in them. So just be prepared for that. I used Portra 400, which is also kind of hilarious because of one of the pictures I'm pretty proud of. It does not look like any kind of Portra 400 or any Portras, but some things I want to point out with my experience with shooting with this massive camera. First off, I said this is a first roll review. That's a lie. I've shot 2 rolls with this, but there's a learning curve, and I don't know if this is unique to my camera, but my first roll of film through this was Ektar 100. And that was just a very disappointing experience. I went to this flower garden. My brother sent me a photo of some flowers, and a week later the flowers were gone. It was right in that time period where fall happened upon us, and so no really good pictures of flowers, but I was determined to get my first roll through this. And something that I noticed with these film back lock keys, or I don't know what you'd call them, I failed to really secure this film back to the camera when I had my Ektar 100 in it, and when I maneuvered the camera, the back flopped up like that, and I shut it real quick. I was like, oh crap. And I fogged my film. It was very disappointing. Ektar 100 is not cheap, and that was just a terrible experience. But after playing with the camera a little bit more, I was like, okay, you have to be a little bit more deliberate when you're closing this, when it has film in it. So I tried again. I went to the coast, which is Bolivar Peninsula for me, Gilchrist. Bolivar Peninsula is obviously a peninsula in Galveston County. You got kind of 3 suburbs in there. You got Gilchrist, you got Crystal Beach, which is the party beach. That's where all the vacationers really like to go. And then you got Port Bolivar. And so anyways, I brought this with me with Portra 400, and the shooting conditions were terrible. It was super cold for Texans, and it was cold, wet, and extremely overcast. I decided, since it was extremely overcast, and I usually sunny 16 things, I decided to use Light Meter app. The app is literally called Light Meter. This was my first time relying on a light meter, and I've used a pinhole light meter for my Holga panoramic pinhole camera, but this is a different app and a different beast altogether. So I was using that Light Meter app on the phone, and I'm pretty pleased with the results. And just some things that you need to know when it comes time for me to show you the pictures. It was extremely overcast. I put those skies in the photos in post. So yeah. Other than closing the film back, or the film gate, whatever you want to call it, I would say that this grip accessory is, to me, a must-have. I mean, you can use it without it, but it really makes holding the camera one-handed very convenient. To me, it's very comfortable. If you get a Pentax 6.7, I would say get the wooden grip. They also have plastic grips that are similar to this. Something that you need to know, first off, this has a compartment in here where you would put a battery. This thing will really use up batteries, so for the sake of being prepared, being a Boy Scout, and not being disappointed on your next photo shoot, keep a couple spare batteries in your camera bag. Something else that you need to know, when you want to remove the prism, let's just say you want to put a light needle prism on there, or a waist level finder prism, or the chimney prism, whatever you want to put on there. If you want to remove this prism, which it is removable, always remove the lens first, and then you can remove the prism. If you don't do that, you'll break the mechanism in here that allows you to use the light needle prism, and you would have to pay to get that replaced. I don't know if it'll affect anything if you don't use the light needle prism, but for the sake of keeping your camera in good condition, take your lens out before you put the prism in. This thing is massive and heavy, but I enjoyed using it. The what you call it, the viewfinder is, I'm gonna say, decently bright. I never misfocused with this thing, and I'm pretty happy with it. I hear that the 6x7 II doesn't have quite as a bright viewfinder, but I'm pretty happy with this. I plan on getting the 105 2x4 lens, but I'm currently trying to sell my Canon L3 on eBay, so if you're interested in that, please buy it, and I'll put a link in the description. But let's see what else. I guess I can show you the pictures that I took. Also, for those of you who are not familiar with the Pentax 6.7 or different medium format exposure counts, my first two medium format cameras was the Holga. I had two Holgas. One's panoramic, which is going to not give you a whole lot of exposures, and one was the standard Holga with a 6x6 aspect ratio or negative, and my Veronica S2, which is basically a Japanese Hasselblad, just not as cool as the Hasselblad, but it's very similar, and you will definitely get compliments on it if you shoot in public with it. But it's also 6x6. It shoots a 6x6 negative. The Holga can shoot a 645 negative if you want. And with 645, you're going to get about 15 exposures. With a 6x6 negative, you're going to get about 12 exposures. And with a 6x7, which is probably one of the biggest, it's not the biggest, but it's one of the biggest negatives you can get on a handheld medium format camera, you're going to get 10 exposures. And you know, they call the 6x7 aspect ratio the ideal aspect ratio, because with square format you have to do some cropping to get prints, and it doesn't always print or crop nicely when you want to get prints, when you want to put it on paper or what have you. It can be difficult sometimes. So the 6x7 usually fits on a rectangle canvas, paper, whatever you want to call it, with less hassle, and so they call the 6x7 the ideal ratio. Square format's cool, but this kind of makes magazine pictures a little bit more easier. So that's it. That's the video. I'm going to show you a few pictures. This first picture is in the bay. You know, the bay of Bolivar Peninsula has the Intercoastal Canal in it. A lot of barges, tugboats, shrimp boats, fishermen of all types in that water. And so what you see, yes, that is not sand, that is the water. And that's because it's the Intercoastal Canal. That water is really being churned a lot. And I wish I could say that the ocean side is better. it is sometimes better. We're very close to the Mississippi River and we get a lot of silt, but in the actual ocean part of the peninsula, you will get blue water sometimes. Sometimes you get clear water. A lot of times it's pretty murky, but it's great for fishing. The silt's good for fishing, but as the ocean is sometimes blue and clear, the bay usually isn't. So that is actually water you're looking at, not sand. But I'm very proud of that picture. Really like it, really enjoy it. And the next picture is in the Intercoastal Canal. It's of a barge. And again, as I said earlier, this is overcast weather. I decided to make the sky pretty in post. And so I actually ended up waiting 45 minutes to an hour for this barge to show up. It was very cold and miserable. I stayed in my Jeep the majority of the time, and I just went to this boat ramp. I forget what it's called. Yacht Basin. It's the Yacht Basin boat ramp that used to be where me and my dad would launch our shrimp boat, and it's Yacht Basin. And so I went into the kind of area where people kind of fish, and I just sat there in my vehicle, waited for the barge to show up, snapped a picture. And it's not the most amazing picture, but I worked very hard to get it, put a lot of time into it to actually get that opportunity in very cold conditions. So I'll add it into this Rotunda photos. This last photo is of a boat that I took at the Stingray Marina, which is a boat ramp marina. They also have a restaurant that's pretty famous there, and when I say famous, that's where all the tourists go. Locals go there as well, but it's kind of the nicest restaurant in Bolivar, and there's other restaurants there. And I'm definitely not going to say this is a quiet date night restaurant to go to. It's pretty loud, but if you want good seafood, there's a good place to go. And they have a you hook it, we cook it thing, which I've always wanted to try, but every time I've been there since I've learned about the option, I have not caught a legal size fish to try out there. Anywho, there's a boat that's always there, and I'm going to show you a 6x6 photo I took of it. It's one of my favorite photos that I took with my Veronica S2. That is Pan 100, Canton Mill Pan 100 film. I was Sunny 16ing it, and that's just an amazing photo. That's a 6x6 square format photo. This next photo I'm going to show you is a 6x7 photo, roughly of the same distance away from the boat. And I took this photo with, drumroll please, Portra 400. And I decided to convert it to black and white, which is funny in my opinion, just funny to me. And that's what a 6x7 photo looks like compared to a square format 6x6 photo. Thought you might find that interesting. So that's it. That's the video. I really enjoyed this camera. I really want to shoot with it some more, and I really want to get that mythical 105 2.4 lens. Yeah, that's it. That's the video. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm Austin Culbertson, and I'm out.